Hey guys, Dan here with Steve's Aquatics. Today I'm going to be scaping this tank here. This is the 3-gallon TopFin planted shrimp and Oasis tank that I did a review on in my last video. Link's going to be down in the description for that video if you're interested. This is a 3-gallon cube, rimless, that I set up briefly in the last video. Have all the stuff to scape it today, and I'm going to show you how I go about that process. So without further ado, let's get started. So for this setup, I'm going to be using a mixture of spider wood. This is all old spider wood I've had and used in various aquariums and projects. This one actually I just pulled out of a terrarium that was in. That's why it's much more darker than the other pieces, because it's kind of been in a moist environment for a while. And then some Dragonstone I just picked up that I'm going to be using to hopefully balance out the wood and keep it from floating, and kind of do a mixed rock and wood hardscape, and then dress it up with some plants, and I'll show you the plants here as well. These are the plants I'm going to be using. I set these up in this small holding tank a little while ago, just hoping to get them used to being acclimated to being in an underwire environment, because these were all tissue culture plants except the Java Fern. So I have some Buce Brownie here in the front, some Buce Green, have some Flamingo, narrow leaf Java Fern. Sorry about the focus issues, not sure what that was all about. Then it has some Cuba there. I'm gonna try out the Cuba. I have never tried it before and see how it goes. Kind of beat up right now, going from culture to underwater environment, but we'll see if we can get it to rebound. But it's probably gonna be a little tough. Looks a little bit beat up, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna be using a mixture of 2 different substrates here. This is the substrate the kit comes with. I have no idea what this substrate is. It feels like a gravel, but they say it's a planted tank substrate. I don't know how nutritive it is for the plant, so I'm just gonna do a base layer of Fluval Stratum. This is something I use in most of my aquascapes because I know it works, does well with plants, does well with shrimp. So we're gonna do a base layer of that and then top it off with that. Because I do like the look of this. This is a nice substrate, but just don't know how much nutrients it has. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and rinse this off because it is pretty dusty, and then get it into the tank.
Also went ahead and washed the Dragonstone while I was down here.
Alright, so first, I'm going to do my layer of Fluval Stratum. Just going to be a small layer, slope towards the back. Fluval Stratum is also pretty dirty substrate, but I'm not going to wash this because it's going to be covered up by the other substrate, and hopefully should keep most of the stuff from coming back up into the water column. This is just to give some nutrition to the plants that are in here. Spread it out a little bit to keep it where the plants are going to be mostly located. And this should at least add some good stuff to the water column. So then next, I'm going to go ahead and add our other substrate, which is the TopFin substrate that the tank came with. I just got done pre-washing it. So we're going to go ahead and start adding it towards the back. Now I'm going to slope it down towards the front. This will help give it a sense of depth as it rises towards the back. Feels like you're looking into the distance. Completely cover the Fluval Stratum here. kind of got it evened out here. See if y'all can see that. So you can see that I've kind of angled it here towards the back, sloping it backwards. This should make it easier to plant and scape. All right, now I'm gonna try to work on putting in the hardscape. I'm gonna do a little bit of tinkering here and see what works the best. So try to use these pieces of wood and dragonstone, try to make a natural flow to the whole setup. So we'll see what we can come up with. This is pretty much the scape I've settled on. I've noticed one thing that's problematic with this tank is that you can't go too high towards the back because the filter box is gonna be like this low, so you really kind of limits your height a little bit, but we'll make do. One little thing I'm gonna add is I'm gonna add more of these little accent pieces of dragonstone just to help with the sense of scale, just to add some diversity to the sizes of the rocks. Just helps create a more variegated and natural appearance. Next thing I'm gonna do is lock everything in with super glue, just so the wood doesn't float when I fill it up with water. So I'll go ahead and do that now. All right, everything is locked into place with super glue. I'm just gonna give it about 10 or 15 minutes to cure, then I'll proceed with planting. All right, first things first with the planting, I'm gonna start with the largest plant, which is just gonna be the Java Fern. I'm gonna try to plant this towards the back. Java Ferns are really easy plants to care for, really slow growing. Yeah, just have a really awesome look to them. So these are epiphytes. They don't need to be, you shouldn't plant them in the substrate just because they will, the roots will get damaged essentially. So what I like to do is just nestle them in between hardscape with the roots kind of free. And that way the rhizome has room to grow. All right. Next up, I'm gonna add some Crypt Flamingo. These plants also came out of the culture. Just acclimating them underwater for a few days, so we'll be ready to go. Now these plants can get pretty large, so you'll definitely want to plant these towards the back or the intermediate area, which is what I'm going to do. I'll plant them more towards the middle. Just make sure they're well rooted. This gravelly type substrate is a little bit difficult to plant in with these smaller plants. So we'll see if we can get a good hold on the roots here. Always good to have a good pair of aquascaping pincets, or tweezers, whatever you want to call these. These will add a nice pop of red color when they're more mature. Add some diverse look to the tank. Should look really awesome. So I'm going to try to get these in the nooks and crannies here. Let's open up towards the back and whatnot. Go there. Just one more little bunch. I'll plant that again in the middle here with its other friend. There. And now we just have some Buce and the Cuba. So what we'll do is we'll start with the green Buce. You can do this any couple ways. You can plant directly in the substrate, or you can just tie it. Or you can not tie it, or you can tie it, or you can super glue it to hardscape. Either way, Buce is an awesome plant, really slow growing, tolerates a lot of different conditions. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on getting these plants situated. I love Buce. I used it once before in this smaller project. It really did well. So let's see. like the buse here up towards the front. I'm playing by the wood. Might actually glue a couple pieces to the wood here. We'll see how I feel. I might save that for the brownie. We'll see.
Unfortunately, guys, I didn't get the clip of me planting or gluing the Bucephalandra Brownie, which you can see I put all over the rocks and wood. I went to plant the Cuban next, but it was not in great shape. It was mushy coming out of the water, and I gave it a whiff test, and it did not smell great, so I just avoided planting that.
Next thing we're going to do is set up, finish up a few elements of the hardscape, add the filter and the lights, get it filled up with water, and get ready to add some shrimp. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add some accent dragonstone. This is just again to add a sense of scale. Makes it seem more natural, like little pieces of stone have broken off the main pieces over time and have scattered. Just kind of drop them in at random. And you know, they'll fall at random and end up where they're supposed to be. You know, and you go with it. We have some larger pieces here. I'll just add some of these larger pieces of stone here to the front. Again, this is dragonstone. It's a very soft stone. It's pretty much like clay. You know, and it's so soft you can almost break it with your hands. So, I mean, these little stones I just broke off a little piece of a larger piece by just, you know, dropping it on the ground, and it's broken to a million pieces. Very brittle stone, but very popular in the hobby. You know, it's very dramatic. Okay, there we go. Next thing I'm going to do is slowly add some dechlorinated water. Now I'm going to add this back very slowly because, one, I don't know if I've secured the wood down well enough. So I have to do this slowly. Because if the wood starts to float, the scape is destroyed. So we gotta do this gently, a little bit at a time. If we notice the wood starts to budge, we make corrections from there. So this will at least help keep the plants hydrated for right now. I went ahead and moved it into its final spot before I went ahead and filled it all up, so go ahead and keep pouring water in there. I'm pouring it into this little cup just so it doesn't disturb the substrate. It really keeps the water from getting very cloudy. All right, got it all filled up, started running the filter, which I will say is extremely low flow, very unnoticeable. I mean, you can barely tell that it's running, so it's not going to disrupt the shrimp or anything like that. I'm not going to agitate the water, so just something to keep in mind if you're looking for something high flow. This isn't it. So it's going to be very, very low flow. So for right now, we're just going to keep it like this, let it run, let all the water dechlorinate, and plan on adding the shrimp in a little bit. All right, got the boys acclimating, and girls probably. Got them all acclimating to the temperature, and hopefully we'll add them soon. All right, team. The shrimp have acclimated to temperature, and now go ahead and add them in. See how they do. Add them in gently. I'll also go ahead and add in some Fritz Turbo Start. I got the focus. There you go, some Fritz Turbo Start. Let's just immediately cycle. Heard some great things about Fritz and their Turbo Start product from other YouTubers. So this is my first time using the product. We'll see how it goes. I also have some cycled media I plan to add in from my other tanks, so just gonna pour in a little bit. This treats up to 50 gallons, so add more than enough. Ooh, that's smelly. But let's see how it goes. All right, gang, here we are a few days later. Everybody's hiding today, except this one guy, but the water is really cleared up, and it's looking pretty good. So we'll see how long-term holds up. So far, pretty pleased with this setup. Again, this was a TopFin kit that you can get at PetSmart, I believe. The TopFin planted shrimp Oasis, something along those lines. But I'll keep you guys posted with some update videos, and we'll have some projects coming down the line. Thanks for stopping in.